Hey guys, I'm Jessica and I'm here today to talk to you about my NaNoWriMo story ideas. I've already talked about two of the novels that I've written, both from the years I won NaNoWriMo, and if you want to hear about that, I talk about them throughout a couple of my videos. So I have my story idea for NaNoWriMo, but before we talk about that, I want to talk about some of my rejected story ideas. A couple years ago, I really didn't know what I wanted to write for NaNoWriMo. That was the year I was having a really hard year. I didn't get far in the story at all. I don't even think I started it. I just had an idea. And I still think it's a cool idea, but I don't know if I would write it. So I thought about how I could make NaNoWriMo feel more manageable to me. And I like writing short stories because they are easier to write. And at the end you feel like you accomplished something. So I end up always writing a lot of short stories. So this particular year I was thinking a lot about the importance that we place on, material things. I was thinking about why people hang on to so much stuff, like little trinkets and jewelry they don't wear. So I came up with this story idea about one object. I didn't even decide what the object was going to be. I thought maybe like a ring. This object is the main plot point in 5 short stories. So each short story was going to be 10,000 words approximately. So I was going to have it start with like the first owner of the ring and then go through 5 owners in each short story. So each story would have its own arc and plot, but I wanted to show how 5 different people placed different amounts of importance on this one object. Last night I came up with another idea. I don't think I'll use this idea, but it was pretty interesting. Do any of you have that annoying person in your life who is always like, let me tell you about my dream last night? Because that is me. I am always telling people about my dreams and I don't care if they don't want to hear it or not. I love talking about dreams. I love hearing about dreams. I think they're so interesting. So last night I had a dream. It was kind of like 2 dreams in one. It started as one thing and then evolved into another thing. So the first part of the dream, I was packing up the baby and the stroller into my car and we lived next to a gas station, which we don't, but in my dream we did. And as I was like struggling with the stroller, a guy was walking into the gas station and he just waved at me, like people do. And I was struggling and I didn't wave back. If you're anything like me, that makes you feel really bad. Like, he just waved at me, I didn't wave back, he probably thinks I'm a terrible person, they probably don't even care. But I was like, oh man, I should have waved back, that was rude. So I got the stroller in the car and I go to open my door and he's in my car. And so he shoves me in with the baby and he starts driving us somewhere. And I'm freaking out because obviously he's kidnapping us. And I didn't know what to do. I kept trying to use my phone without him noticing, but I could never dial the right numbers. I actually have dreams like this a lot where I'm like being trapped or kidnapped and I can't call for help. I can't get anyone, I can't get anyone's attention. So he drives us up to the mountains to this really, really old, creepy house. And it's next to like this Amish town, which makes no sense, but it's next to this town where they have no technology. There's no cell phone reception, nothing. So he takes us here and leaves us here and I'm like, we're gonna die here. And then it transformed into another dream. So I don't know how it got here, but I remember walking around the house and then I walked in the basement area and there was a door that led kind of like to a crawl space under the house. So I opened the door and I was looking around and all of a sudden I saw this body of this girl and she looked dead. She looked like she had been there forever and I freaked out and she started moving. And someone came and like pushed me out of the way and got her and they're like, it's okay, she's mine, she's with me. And I was like, what do you mean she's with you? Like, is she dead? What's wrong with her? And it turned out that I was in this kind of afterlife. So in this dream, when people died traumatically, they were sent to this house and they were assigned kind of like a buddy to help them with the transition. So I guess I was a person who was assigned people, and people would just pop up like Pokemon in Pokemon Go. Like, I was walking in the yard and there was a hand that popped out of the ground and everyone ran over. But then the twist came when I was walking, and you could walk around. It was kind of like the others, like you could walk so far but you couldn't leave. And so I was walking, and the owner of the establishment, the leader, she walked up to me and she was like, "You can't go any further." And then I started asking questions, because I'm that person who is very like, I'll ask questions if I don't understand. I'm not someone who just like accepts things at face value. And so I was asking her questions and she got very defensive, and I realized that there was more going on than everyone realized. There was something negative going on. Of course, this is when I woke up, before I found out what it was, but I thought that would be a really interesting story. So the story that I'm going to write for NaNoWriMo, I thought of it when I was driving to work the other day. That morning I had been very frustrated by Facebook. Of course, it's election season in America and I live in the South, so if that gives you any clue as to what I was frustrated about. I was thinking a lot about how people go to great lengths to cover things up and excuse things just because they want to have that perfect image of a community or a family or even as a person. And I was also thinking about the importance that people in the South still put on marriage. Like, I'm not saying it's not important, but I'm saying some people still believe that that is the #1 goal a woman should have in life, is to get married. And that's her biggest accomplishment in life, is finding the right guy. It just made me think about all that I've accomplished in my life and how it doesn't really matter to some people. Like, I have a master's degree and I had a successful time teaching high school, and I feel like I've influenced lives, hopefully, but it doesn't matter because I'm not married. To some people it doesn't matter. And to some people, if you're not a girl who fits into society, kind of submits and does what she's supposed to do, if you don't fit into that mold, then you're kind of seen as rebellious. So I was thinking a lot about the girls who struggle to fit into communities around here where I live. And I started thinking about the lengths that people would go to ensure that people in their community fit the mold. So I decided to write about a community that is very image driven and who is not very accepting of people who have different opinions or people who are different or look different, and the lengths they'll go to keep it that way. Of course, there are communities like this everywhere, but I feel like I have more knowledge about communities like this in the South, so that's what I'm going to focus on. The only thing I'm having trouble deciding is actually a big part of the book. I can't decide what age the main character is. Initially, I thought she would be 17 and I would write a young adult mystery, but now I kind of want her to be like 25-ish. It would still have all the same characters and it would be the same story, but I would be writing from obviously an older perspective. So that's one thing I haven't decided, but like her mom will stay the same, her friends will stay the same. It'll just be, she won't be in high school. I don't know how much I want to give away because it's still not fully formed and I don't want to say too much and then have someone be like, I hate that idea. So the mystery part of the novel will be the disappearances of various girls from this community. I think that's all I want to say about it for now. I think once I decide the age of my main character, I'll be able to get the ball rolling with like outlining and stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like it if you did like it, and remember to add me on NaNoWriMo if you would like to. I think I've added everyone who's added me so far. Also be sure to subscribe if you want to follow along with me. I hope NaNoWriMo planning is going well for everyone, and I will see you again in a few days.